doing it.
Go for it.
And say hi over here as well.
Are we live? I'm going to go for it. Hi, and hi to Instagram and to YouTube and to anyone who's watching, if anyone is watching now or later. Welcome to today's AMA. It's Thursday, it's London, and you haven't heard from us for a little while, so we thought we'd do another AMA this time. Today we're joined by Larissa, aka Luna Neptune.
Hello.
And yeah, we're just going to chat a little bit about, chat with Larissa about how she's found using Dubler. She's going to do a bit of a demo. Actually, first thing I'm going to do is a very quick demo because I've been told it takes us way too much chat to get to the demos in the AMA, so I'm going to go straight in for that. So if you're watching here, I've got Dubler already set up and I'm using it with Ableton. So let's just see if it's going to make some noise. And I've got some strings on as well. Two very clashing instruments there. I've got Iron Man drum kit and a string section. But anyway, that was to really cater for all those people that said they couldn't be bothered to wait for like 20 minutes of us chatting on before we did a demo. So, anyway, we've got a few topics to talk through. If you have any questions, send them to us through Instagram or through Facebook or YouTube or however you're watching this. Can't be through Facebook actually, can it? And let's just kick off by doing a little bit of an introduction maybe. Also David's here. Yeah, so maybe you want to introduce yourself.
Okay.
I was just referred to you as Luna or Larissa.
Either one is fine.
Okay.
Any name. So yeah, I'm Luna Neptune. I'm an alt folk solo artist based in London, and I've been using Dubler since February, I think, maybe just before that, testing it, and it's been...
Well, actually, if you wind right back...
Of course, with the rewind.
Yeah.
So the first time, what, 2 years and a half ago now?
Yeah.
Yeah, got to go down to Abbey Road Studios and play with it, which was still one of the most exciting days of my life. No jokes.
Yeah, I got to go into Abbey Road last week. I still try and hang around there as much as possible. So Larissa came, was one of our very first testers. Right in the early days when it was still running on a Raspberry Pi.
It was, yep.
Yeah, maybe tell us a little bit about that experience, because I'll tell you what, it's come along a long way since then, right?
Oh, it definitely has. What was really, so my DAW is Logic, and so I think when we first turned up and played with it, I'd come down somewhere and we'd had a bit of a test and had a bit of an idea, but then when I came to Abbey Road Studios, all the sort of ideas I'd had, most of them didn't work, and we had to very much on the fly realise in Logic certain synths did work with it and certain other synths didn't work. But yeah, then kind of just let me play with it for about an hour. I had a bunch of beats already prepared and other bits, and then just played guitar and sung along, and yeah, it was just dreamy, to be honest.
Do you think, because now obviously it's no longer on a Raspberry Pi, which I'll tell you right now, from our point of view, makes things a lot easier. But you know, how are you finding it as like now that you've moved on to the desktop software? How does that like affect your workflow in comparison to having it as like an external thing?
I mean, it's just so easy, you just plug it in and go. I mean, it's, as soon as it's in, it just works automatically, which is so nice. So I think the way that I've been using Dubler most is, at the moment I'm trying to record an album, and so I have all the vocals, I have all the guitar, and I'm trying to work out what do I do with the rest of the stuff. And quite often I'm getting very stuck and getting in a total creative headlock, and then I think, I just need to play for a bit, and so I'll pick up Dubler and I'll just play and make silly noises, and it's the thing that's sparking the creativity so much, it's getting me out of a block every time. Awesome. Which is like such a beautiful tool to have, because that's such an issue for so many creatives. Like, what do you do when you get stuck? Now you just go make silly noises, and that gets the flow going again.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's lovely to hear, isn't it?
Yeah.
We should also say that, so Luna's using, what version of Dubler are you at? 12, yeah. So, whereas the current in-house, not ready to be released version, well, none of it's ready to be released yet, but not ready to even hand it over to our beta testers, is 15. I don't know when the next one we shift out will be.
So we're in a kind of pre-15 version at the moment, and Yeah, with the modifications to the microphone, because obviously we handed out beta testers one of the earlier versions of the microphone, which still looks pretty similar to what our final version is going to look like.
It looks similar, but I'm sorry, I'm afraid to say you do have a slightly inferior microphone to the ones.
True.
Well, even if it's inferior, it works beautifully. So.
Yeah.
Well, that's good, but you will be getting it. You'll get a new one when we get that far.
Exactly.
That's
So
very
we've got this thing where we need a shipment of microphones, and then we can really upgrade beta testers to the latest fancy features.
Yeah. So you're working on an album. And you also play a lot of like live gigs, right? What's the main focus right now, live or album or both?
Album actually is the main one at the moment, because I was kind of with doing a lot of gigging, you have to practice a lot, so that was taking up the time with the writing, recording. At the moment, the way I'm writing is, songs that I've been gigging for the last couple of years are now ready to go on an album, but how do I do that with the rest of the noises? So that's where this is coming in so useful.
So do you think anything that obviously you're saying that it's really good in the creative process, do you think anything will make it all the way through to the album?
Definitely. Okay, so one thing that I just... No, definitely. So there's a couple of features I've been finding, right? So there's, in Logic, there's a retro synth, and I've been playing with it, and you can change all the parameters like if you had an actual synth, but I can't record that onto Logic at the moment. But using this, I can, live, I'm making lots of weird noises and bleeps and whoops. So now I've realised, well, if I just record the output, whatever is coming out the speaker, that will definitely make it on, because there's just stuff that I've not been able to find another way to do.
Yeah.
Because I'm a properly frustrated. I wanted to be a flute player. I keep buying flutes and not being able to play them, and buying wind instruments and not being able to play them. And this is fulfilling all of my wind instrument dreams. But then with the mad synth sort of spacey sci-fi aspect, so
That is awesome. I think it's fair to say probably that will be the very first proper piece of music published that's had.
Do you find yourself using the automation? Do you find yourself using, because you're saying that you're using a synth, do you find yourself twiddling things around?
Yeah, so what I'm doing, once I'm in, so if I have the sort of synth package up, there's lots of like modulation and vibrato and things like that you can change, and different effects that I can move around. And let's see if I can maybe. Am I making any noise?
So talk us through what you're actually doing there a little bit.
So I'm just obviously singing, and then if you can see, I've got different shape modulations and different vibratos. There's for one instrument. For one instrument, there's different shapes you can have of it, so I can move around that. And then quite often I will have put other effects on it before, like different delays or different reverb to kind of make it much more spacious. So this is the stuff that once once I've recorded the guitar, I've maybe had a bit of a basic beat and I've done the singing, and then that's when I bring this in to create all the atmospheric stuff behind it, which all those vibration, all those changes I'm making, I can't record that live. So
you're using the vowel control.
Yeah,
stuff.
Effectively, yeah. So in Dubler,
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like the clangers or something.
So it's a bit obviously. Normally, like in our setup, what we try to do is live stream the audio that's coming through. So when I was doing the demo right at the very start, that's what was happening. But as Luna's come in with her setup, we obviously don't have that feeding straight through. So we are playing all of this out loud. So the audio that you can hear for Luna's laptop is being played out loud and then going back into a microphone. So if it's kind of clipping or a bit distorted or anything like that, I'm sorry, that's probably why. Although it is a fair representation of.
You can't see me, but I have a question from the floor, and actually it's for you, Larissa, based on what you've just done when you were demoing that. Are there any latency issues when you do that?
I've not had any so far, and if they have been, because I'm trying to make kind of spacey sounds, actually sometimes I can really work towards it. But I mean, yeah, not really had any latency issues at all. I mean, really is doing what you're doing in real time. And I keep saying it's revolutionary.
Do you find yourself picking synths that have got like a really short attack, for instance, or do you do anything like that to kind of get responsiveness, or?
No, actually, I haven't even thought I've had to do that. It just kind of works, which
Yeah.
is great. You know, I like a lot of the synth sounds I use pads, so that's kind of more atmospheric and stuff as well. So if it doesn't hit straight away for what I need, that doesn't have too much of it wouldn't be an issue anyway. So, but I mean, no, I haven't had an issue with it.
Cool.
I think like with the latency for on the synth side of things is more like it can be variable also to do with how you're singing and what you're singing. Like on the percussive side, because it's much more straight like hit and sound, then it's a very consistent, the latency is very consistent, like 10, 11 milliseconds, something like that. On the synth sound, it can, like, if you have particularly noisy kind of segue into the note, if you don't kind of go straight into a smooth note. So if you're finding that it's very responsive, very low latency, that's also a reflection of your singing skills as well, because you're like hitting those notes that you want.
13 years at the conservatoire have paid off.
Have we got any more questions for the floor? Should we carry on?
So we're going from Hash, who's a long-time member of the Dubler community.
Ah, the Hash.
Yeah, well, no, Hash 2K.
Hash 2K, yeah.
The Hash. What program do you use with Dubler? He's just joined, so he's missed that bit.
I'm using Logic as my DAW.
Cool. Logic Hash.
And hi.
Hi. Okay, so I can't actually. Amir, I believe. Do I need a beer to use the mic? Answer is no. You need a wine.
It all helps. It all helps.
Purely medicinal. The more? There are a couple of questions here we've printed off as well.
Yeah, for sure. Hash just says dope.
Nice one. That's your nice
do you ever use much of the kind of more percussive stuff?
I have tried now. Definitely before, let me just turn that down. Before getting Dubler, I had never, ever tried to beatbox. I have now been learning to beatbox specifically because of this. Now, I'm not going to do it live because it's horrific, but it's a new skill. I mean, the thing about this is it is a totally new instrument, so there's so much to learn from it. So yes, I have tried the percussive stuff, but not quite there.
I think it's one of those things that because it's quite fun to use, you kind of start to practice. And so I think everyone in this office none of us can really beatbox, but certainly we've all got loads better.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just through like just messing around, you just find yourself doing it. Sometimes I'll be like walking down the street.
No, I'm doing that all the
I find
time now.
myself doing
Like,
it, like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll all be masters in several years' time.
Well, I don't know. We have people come in. We've had quite a few beatboxers come in, and that quickly reminds you that we actually can't do it at all. As soon as someone comes in that can.
That's like so mind-blowingly quick. They can fire off what seems like 5 in a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we can pick that up, luckily. So
It's good though because we can't
level.
test that ourselves. Right, I'm going to throw in a question here. When will we be able to buy Dubler, and what is the price?
So
That's not a question to you.
£213.
well, you can take pre-orders now. We are taking pre-orders on Indiegogo, and that's currently 220.
Yeah.
So and we're aiming to deliver for October. That is our goal. When we have launched in October, the post-launch price is 295, and we're looking good for October. So yeah, happy days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just another question from Hash. What program does Dubler work best with?
Well, that's a bit like asking what program does a MIDI keyboard work best with. I think it really comes down to what program you like to work with. Right now, when I was doing the demo, I was using Ableton, and I was doing that because my laptop is having to deal with a lot of stuff because we're doing the live stream through the laptop. We've got like sound file, we've got multiple audio threads. Obviously we've got Dubler open, we've got Ableton open. I was just like, let's choose Ableton because it doesn't have like a built-in latency kind of adjustment, whereas Logic will start to, if it has a lot of processing to do, will start to increase the latency just to keep the CPU usage down. Ableton doesn't do that, so you can guarantee absolute lowest latency, which makes sense because Ableton is more known for its live use, but it works great with Logic.
I think it depends as well, like I prefer Logic because I like the synths and all the inbuilt instruments, so that makes sense. So it depends on what your creative choice is, really.
Yeah, it depends on the DAW and what you like using the most. We had an artist come in, novelist, who was able to get it working in Reason really quickly and then made a beat really, really quickly, but it would have taken me a few days to just set it up. So, it really depends.
All the more professional DAWs. I think we did that AMA with GarageBand the other week, and it works great with GarageBand, but GarageBand, the restrictions come with the DAW, not with Dubler's use of it. So obviously GarageBand doesn't have quite as many features as Logic does. So it means you can't use all of the features that Dubler has with it. That was a long answer, wasn't it? Sorry, I started waffling. Can Dubler convert polyphony to MIDI notation, i.e. guitar strumming?
Yes, it can. I've been using. I've been using it as trigger. Actually, I've been trying to use it with acoustic guitar, and it's not as successful as when I've been miking up to my amp. So that has been triggered. So yeah, no, it can't. But
it can do. Well, it should be able to do single note guitar if you're plucking a melody.
Oh, but if
you're doing a chord.
Yeah, no, you're right. I can't do that.
It can't. Sorry. No, I know in theory it's monophonic, but what actually would happen when you play a chord? Would it pick up one of the notes in the chord?
When I've been doing it, it's been if the top note, and then I've been using it as the emphasis, and then that's the one that triggers it.
Gotcha. So it's like the bass note almost.
Yeah.
That would also be definitely, if Cam is watching, a question for him, because I bet he'd be interested to see how it would look with all the different peaks you would get of how we do all of our
correlations,
all our stuff. Yeah. Anyway, we've got one more question here. Is it going to be possible for Dubler to be set up to MIDI trigger external hardware, like how it does with software synths and sample packs? Well, we did an AMA where what was that? What was that piece of hardware that we were using?
It was like a Korg ESX, right. And so we can absolutely. So Dubler is a MIDI controller, just like a MIDI keyboard, like you said earlier. And so it can fire off anything that will take MIDI, including any kind of drum machine, synth, and it also acts as pads, like an MPD or an MPK, whatever. Like you can hit pads. So we've had that firing off, and if you've got sample packs, like was it your Dizzy Rascal sample pack and stuff like that, we have to do an AMA with that. We definitely have to do that. You can fire off any samples, any sounds, make any sounds.
Well, we're going to Sonar in Barcelona. So the Sonar Music Festival also has part of it is like a music tech festival bit that's Sonar plus D. So we're going out to that, and we're hoping we've got a little demo stand there, and we're hoping that maybe we'll get some MIDI controllable lights or something like that, so we can do some like weird stuff like that.
Wait, have you said about the drum pads? Is there any particular that you've already used it with that worked really well?
So I mean, like what I mean is that with the way that Dubler is, and you've got the kind of rows of the different drum things going around. It's basically the same as pads. We've had it firing off we've plugged in like a really old school drum machine. We did an AMA with that, and we had us like firing off these kind of retro sampled sounds.
Because basically you can take a 5-pin MIDI out. It has to go through an audio interface, Focusrite or something, but you can just take a 5-pin MIDI and plug it into some like old school hardware.
But like coming back to what you were saying about beatboxing, I can do maybe 3 sounds at once, but like trying to do hi-hats, for instance, I can't go or whatever. So what I was using my voice to do a couple of sounds, and then I was using MPD, like pads to like do my hi-hats. So yeah, I could actually do it. Yeah,
Cool.
made it made it much easier for me. Yeah.
I have another question for you, Luna Neptune, Larissa. Now, I'm gonna preface this by saying we're very focused on delivering for October, and what we're going to be working on between now and then is already set in stone, and there won't be any big changes. But what feature, if you could have something that Dubler can't do at the moment, what might you like it to do?
Literally nothing's jumping to mind right now.
The strumming?
Yeah, I mean that possibly would be really useful.
I guess that's when we move away, because at the moment it's very focused on the voice, and that's kind of the whole point, which is why it's monophonic. But yeah, I don't know. I shouldn't be giving you ideas here. I was thinking what you might.
I mean, by that, I think it'll be more live, how to use it live, which I'm mostly not concentrating so much at the moment. But I mean, the reason I got interested in this in the very first place was the idea of being able to use this live. But I've got very much like studio head on at the moment.
Yeah.
So.
What's the live experience like? We're going to do an AMA where we test the noise resistance at some point.
So I've never actually managed to use it at a gig setting yet. But like in the studio, playing with other people and things, it's been really good. I had a slight concern that maybe if it was like really heavy, loud drums and things, that there might be noise crossover and stuff. But we've not had that issue at all, which is really exciting.
Well, I think on the sample triggering side, our noise resistance is really good, and on the kind of pitch control side, the version that you've got, 12, probably still has a little bit of work to do on the noise resistance as well, so it will actually improve from that. In fact, I think we've already improved it a little bit.
Yeah, we've had a bit of an overhaul of a bunch of pitch stuff, so looking forward to setting you up with that.
Cool, have we got any more questions?
One question from the gal. Could I convert beatbox to MIDI files, and can I quantize it?
Yeah, so you beatbox, and you beatbox into your DAW, and that's hooked up and it's picking up MIDI notes. So you hit record. So for instance, I use Logic. I'm just...
I can show this while we're doing it.
Okay, cool. So that will be streamed on YouTube whilst I'm describing it. You'll beatbox, and then you'll hit record on your DAW, and it's going to record the MIDI notes coming out. So George is going to give you a quick demo.
So I'm going to quickly turn this off so that I don't... so I've just turned the pitch stuff off because I'm going to focus more on the beatboxing side, this side. Going back to Ableton, because what I wanted to do is if I go in like here, and I'm going to record, is it like primed to record? Hang on. I'm just going to record so that you'll see what happens. Okay, for some reason it's super zoomed out, let's just do that. And so, hang on, do I press that? Yeah, you can see these are all the MIDI notes. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot you were on this drum. So those are all the, okay, hang on, how do I get it to actually make any noise? So you can hear a little bit of crackle there, that's because we're playing out loud through a speaker when I'm running the streaming stuff as well. Hang on, how do I go back to this? Yeah, so, and you can quantize.
Yeah, exactly. So in your DAW, you'll select your MIDI notes and hit quantize. I like hitting, I like putting the least possible quantization on, because it's nice to have it kind of corrected, but still have the offbeatishness. It sounds good, depending on what you're going for.
Yeah, well, one of the people that we're working with down at the Rattle. So the Rattle's a music co-working space in London, in Tobacco Docks. And if you saw our Kickstarter video, that was all shot at the Rattle. So there's like these kind of studios there, and so we've done a bit of testing down there as well with some of their artists. And I remember chatting to someone there who she doesn't beatbox at all really, but she said she'd been using Dubler to put in like hi-hats. specifically should go back over recording and just put in the or whatever, and it was without quantizing, and the whole point being like to get that kind of natural feel. She said you have such control over the timing, you could get that kind of exact swing of the note. So yeah, it kind of the benefit was to not quantize it in that use.
Okay, I have a couple of questions on YouTube as well.
Okay, fire them in.
Okay, so John Wheeman says, this is really cool. Would it be possible to show me a little composition as to show the process? We will do that, surely.
Yes, it would be possible to do that. I'm not going to try and do that right now off the cuff. But you know what we should do though? We've been talking about this for a while. We want to do a kind of fact style against the clock.
Video.
And we will do exactly that. But I don't think we're going to do that straight away because we want to get the next version. I think it'd be good to feature it with the next version of the software. So that could be a month. We're going to try and do an AM every 2 weeks or 2 or 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we've got a question from Jason Bale. Could you set chords preset and use different sounds to trigger them? Question mark. Future feature? Question mark.
You could definitely do that. There's a thing that we've been doing. There's different ways you can do that. It's not at the moment. It's not like super intuitive. It's something that I think. Well, it's certainly something we've talked about a lot. Something that we want to work on at some point. But for now, one of the things that I've done, and it's in one of the earlier AMAs maybe, is you can do something like in your DAW. Bring in whatever instrument you want, and then you can bring in like chord effects to that instrument, and then you can set which the levels of each instrument based on the vowel sounds. So if I have like a kind of if I bring in a piano and I put on major seventh effects on one, and then I'll bring the piano again and I'll put like minor on another, and then I'll map the A sound to one and the E sound to another. So if I go da 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 da, I'll be getting major sevenths, and if I go D D D D D, I'll get minor of that, and then you can flip between them. So that's like one way you can start to control it.
There are VSTs as well for your DAW, like captain chords and stuff like that, which already feature that kind of functionality where you're playing one note and then you've selected a palette of chords that you would like to play for your particular tune, and then yeah, that would work perfectly with Dubler. That kind of idea. But yeah, talking about future features, we've got a few like that on the horizon. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Hash is asking what kind of feedback have you received from the beta testers, and actually Hash has got one right here. You may have seen it on Kickstarter video, and there's actually a load of other videos on our YouTube with giving lots of different feedback from a few different beta testers as well, and we'll be sharing different feedback with you over the next few months too, as we sort of deploy newer software. Make sure you're up to date with that. Another question from Miguel, who is asking about beatbox and turning it into MIDI and quantizing. We've had this earlier, but we'll have it again. How do I buy it?
At the moment, if you want to buy it, you can buy it as a pre-sale on Indiegogo. The link must be in our YouTube somewhere.
Yeah, so if you go onto our profile on Instagram, follow that link, you'll find the Indiegogo link where you can pre-order.
So that's pre-ordering to be delivered in October. That's our target delivery date. And once we get all of the the products over and shipped over to us, then all of our Kickstarter backers, all of our Indiegogo pre-sales backers, all of them are going to get all the products first. People like Larissa are going to get an updated microphone and stuff like that. And then, which will hopefully be a very quick transition, we'll go on to general sale, which will be on probably through our website, maybe through Amazon if you get there quick enough. And then it'll be £295. So at the moment you can get it for $220. Let's do some quick maths there. Nice discount.
26% off future retail.
That's mental maths right there.
Yeah. Okay, so Miguel saying he's from Colombia, and someone else saying that they're Indian. We're actually doing worldwide shipping, so absolutely no problem getting it to you wherever you are in the world.
It may take slightly longer, I guess.
It may take slightly longer, but it won't take too long.
No, like a week or so. I don't know how long it takes to ship something somewhere. I'm not talking like ages.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, are there any more questions? I don't know, David, if you've got any other questions for Larissa as well.
I think you covered most of it. Yeah. Yeah, it's good to see you in action.
Cool. And when is the album going to be ready? And when's your next gig?
Next gig is next Wednesday, 12th of June at GG's at Hoxton Square in London. Album, it's a good question. I really hope I'll do the first round of recording in September. But if there's any funders out there who want to, give me some money for some space folk, lunaneptune.co, give me a shout.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for not just coming in today, but for being someone that's been so supportive in the whole journey.
Well, no, thank you for this toy. I mean, this is like the best toy anyone's ever given me, so it's really exciting.
Cool. Well, we'll catch you in 2 weeks' time for the next AMA. All right.
Cool.
See you. Bye.
Have an encore.
Actually, is there a wee mic stand? That might be useful.
We've hopefully we're back on live. We've done the we've gone off stage to rounds of applause, and then we've come back on. Right. It was a false end.
I'll quite happily be your microphone stand if you like.
Oh, I can definitely get a microphone stand. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's get. Let's get something nice on this.
Small or big? There's a small one here.
You do good.
Would that be big enough?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, cool.
So cheap.
Good thing that keep cut is. Right, I can ask you to pop that in there.
Sure.
What were you actually controlling there on?
So that is a synth called Electricity Lead, which I've got from. So in Logic, there's a thing called retro. This is the retro synth, which just has all these different synths you can play with this lovely interface of changing between different. So there's kind of 4 ways of listening to playing with each synth. I mean, there's pads, there's bass. So a lot of these like warp synths and the pads, they're the stuff I'm particularly using for weird spacing. Yeah, I love it. And then you can just change the parameters from there. So this is the really, really fun one. This is probably the most fun thing I've found to play with this.
Awesome.
So they're a lovely pairing.
Cool. Yeah. All right.
Magic.
Well, thank you very much.
Thanks.
This will be the real. The other false ending is now over, and this will be the real ending. But yeah, thank you again so much for watching. If you have any questions or topics you would like in a future AMA, pop them in the comments, and we'll catch you next time. Cool.
Bye.
Bye.